Carbondale is like where I've met my wife, where I've, we've had my children, where all my, my kids grow over here. I met all my friends. I built a relationship, you know what I mean? Like, and it's a small town, you know what I mean? Everybody knows everybody. Anywhere I go, I'll always miss Carbondale. I used to live in Kuwait for actually all my life. The next thing I remember is I'm graduating like high school and I'm looking for a good school to go to. I applied to go to Germany. It didn't work out. So I had to settle and go to Jordan. Then while I was going to school over there, Iraq decided to invade Kuwait. I told my dad, I'm like, you know what? I want to find a better life for me. I cannot live over here or, like find a job over here. So he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to go to America. At that time, you don't have to pay money. You didn't have to do this internet thing and application. You just had to stand in line for hours. He asked me, why do you want to go? And I told him, I'm like, I want a better life for me. I want to go to school, get a better job. He's like, how are you going to do that? And I told him, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it to God. It's all in God's hand. He's like, you know what? I'm going to give you 9 months and see how you do it. I came over here. I came actually first to Cleveland, Ohio, Case Western University. I studied for about 3 months. Then I couldn't afford it. My friend called me and he's like, you know what? You should try Carbondale, Illinois. And I'm like, what am I going to do over there? And he's like, don't worry. I have a friend who would help you out. You would stay with him. And every time I think about how everything happened so fast, I have no explanation. You know what I mean? When I came over here, I came for one goal, is to go to school. That's when I met my wife. I don't know if you guys ever been in love, but it's just something that basically just snapped like that, you know what I mean? So, anyway, we just sat down and I started talking. I'm one of those people, I talk a lot. So, she saw that, I'm kind of lost. I'm kind of, I look sad. And I had to tell her my whole story about what happened. She's like, you know what? Let's get married. I really like you. You said you like me. I want to help you out. And that was back in April 19th of 93. So I got my work permit and I was waiting for my green card. At that time, I wanted to go to college, but then I'm like, you know what? My wife got pregnant with our first child. It was and I was so excited. I'm like, I got to do something. This place was for rent. I guess it was here for 50 years, called Wazo's Hot Dog. I called a number. I took an appointment with this guy named Jim Morris. So as soon as he met me, he's like, you know what? Tell me your story, just like I'm over here, And I told him what happened with me, and he's like, you know what? I think you are a really good man, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you 6 months of free rent. And it's just, I don't know, it's just slowly people start knowing Sam's Cafe, you know what I mean? They are well known for their gyros, for the falafel, for the shawarma. Barbecue fries, okay? Is that it? Order up, 1 shish kebab and 1 cheese fries.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Cheese plain and fries. Thank you, buddy. My dad always taught me one thing, you know what I mean? You want to do something, you got to do it the right way, or just don't do it. Don't waste your time. People usually sell typical hamburger, cheeseburger, but then, you come in and you ask somebody, give me a heart attack or a death wish burger or a bypass. This guy this morning, as I opened the door, he knocked on the door in a window, and I'm like, if you are not in a hurry, I would serve you. And he's like, look, I've driven 3 counties just to come over here just to eat your heart attack. That makes me feel good. Honest to God, to me, I believe in if you want a successful business, you have to treat your customer the way you want to be treated. You could have the best food in the world, but then you are a rude guy, you do this, and you look at the customer as they are numbers, they are like $10. No, that's not how I look at my customer. This is how I build my reputation with my customers. And the same thing for my employees. You show them that you care about them. You know, whenever, for example, whenever Mitch comes in, you know what I mean, one of my co-workers, I mean, hey, how are you, buddy? And he's like, you know, I'm fine. I'm like, how was school today? Just like I'm talking to my son.
No salt, the lemonade and ketchup?
Descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
September 11th. That day I will never forget in my whole life. That morning I woke up and I was on my way like to work, like nothing happened. As I'm going there, I get a beep. And it says, you know what I mean, like my friend is number 911. So I get to work and I call him, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, did you watch the news? And I'm like, no, why, what's going on? He's like, okay, come over here. And as I'm walking in, I thought he was watching a movie and I'm looking.
Downtown New York.
Did you hear the explosion
Oh,
from
yes.
your position?
Yes, we did, as a matter of fact.
Side on the second World Trade Center tower. You see that that huge ball of fire.
So all I thought about, I'm like, oh my God, my kids, my wife, my brother, his wife and his kids. So I drove home and my wife was like, what's wrong, what's wrong? I'm like, this is what happened. We have to go get the kids out of school. As I'm getting off, this lady, the secretary is like, hi, how are you, Mr. Abraham? And I'm like, I'm fine. Ma'am, I'm here to get my kids out. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, did you not watch the news? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, my kids are not safe over here. She's like, look, I'm gonna get those people right now to talk to you. And all of a sudden, like, a few police people, like, you know, I guess they were already there, like, to make sure everybody's secure. And they sat down, they're like, look, Mr. Ibrahim, you and your kids are on American soil. So even if you're not an American citizen, and I'm like, no, I am. And he's like, even if you're not, you are protected by the American law. I'm like, okay, but you don't understand. What about the backfire thing? He's like, don't worry, you're gonna be just fine. We took the kids that day. I'm like, man, just let me take my kids right now. I feel better because I want to sit down and explain to them what happened. This way they figure out, they are kind of aware of what's going on. I come back to work like about 2-3 hours later, and the health inspector comes in. And I'm like, why are you coming in right now? I mean, weren't you like here about 2 weeks ago? He's like, look, I just came to check on you. I heard what happened, you know what I mean? We watched the news and I know that you guys, anybody bothering you? And I'm like, no, everything is fine, thank you very much.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
I've been living here for so long, you know, every time, like, you know, I see an officer or something, they tell me, Sam, are you okay? Everybody's okay? Anybody bother you? And I'm like, no, everything's fine. It's just something you can never explain. Once you live in Carbondale, even as you guys, as students, once you live like for 3-4 years of your life, you'll always want to come back and visit. Now for me, I don't think I see myself anywhere but Carbondale. I'm one of those people, I mean, if I like a place, I just stay there. It feels so good that this is, my investment in life is coming around. I've had really rough time and really rough life, and now I think that I'm at this stage where all my hard work is come to a good end, you know, where my kids are doing great. I mean, I think I'm blessed.